Hello.
Hello. Before I start like this video, I just want to say I'm not Mr. Dragon Ball. Like your baby mama probably know more about Dragon Ball than I do. So I'm just here because of like kind of the little tiny itty bitty, not huge discourse online. If you've been on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, you've probably seen like people like complaining or just talking about how like maybe one of their characters somehow didn't end up on the roster of Sparking Zero, even though there's a whole city block uh, as a character roster on that game. And I've seen people talk and give their reasonings, but I feel like there's one like very obvious reason for like there not being your favorite character not being in the game that I feel like I haven't heard anybody talk about for some reason. Um, so I'm just here to say that in that disclaimer that I'm not Mr. Dragon Ball. So if you hit me with anything crazy, outlandish, I'm gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, getting snubbed, getting your character snubbed in a character roster isn't anything new. It's not new in games. It's not new in fighting games. It's not new in different other games. Uh, Mortal Kombat Tekken just released. Mortal Kombat just released. Street Fighter just released. Goddamn, Guilty Gear is out and about, and a bunch of people like off base roster they've been snubbed. They're like, oh, why isn't my character in here? Why isn't my character in here? It's a normal feeling when you're playing a fighting game with a established universe not to get your character in the game on base roster. But I do understand that is for Dragon Ball fans and Sparking Zero fans and Tenkaichi fans. Those are all the same thing. Um, like I do understand that you are in a unique situation in the fact that if you're playing Mortal Kombat, you're playing Tekken, Guilty Gear, like your base roster can only have so many niggas. Like they're not gonna crank out a 50 character roster on release or whatever the max number for those games are. So you kind of expect to be snubbed. Uh, just because you can't always get what you get when your character roster is 20, 30 characters max. You know what I'm saying? However, I do understand that Sparking Zero fans are in a unique situation because they do have the whole tri-state area in their fucking base game roster. 182 people are there and they're shaboinging around, right? Even though a lot of those are the same person repeated, I do understand why some people are repeated. I'm not gonna have that conversation. Um, Not that I feel like there needs to be that conversation. It's the game. There's nothing to trip about, right? But I do understand that you see 182 niggas in a game, and you're like, no way, my nigga didn't get in the game over this freak ass Frieza soldier, over this little ugly ass worm, like other niggas that you wouldn't want to play like in a video game. Like I understand that. I understand that. I understand that. I get that. I get that. Um, but my point here is that you know it's just because of games and monetization why your favorite character didn't end up in the game, right? Any character you've wanted in the game that isn't there, it's because of monetization and because you actually want that character that they didn't put the character in that game. What I'm saying is like what I'm saying is fighting games and character based games like Overwatch and like Tekken or whatever, their main monetization after release is DLC. And it is most parts, I think 100% of the time it's like it's either characters or it's character customization, and then on occasion it's story stuff. We've been seeing a lot of story expansions nowadays, but before that wasn't really a thing, right? And the thing about monetization and releasing new characters through the DLC is that you have to release characters that people want to play, right? They're not gonna release fucking Frieza Soldier number 76 as a DLC character. And if they do, I can come back here and I'll sit down on my table and you can shoot me in the back of the head. It's okay, it's fine. But they're not gonna release DLC characters that are lame, at least I think, like Frieza Soldiers, um, as DLC because the point of DLC is to make money, right? So everyone being like, "Oh my gosh, they didn't put Super 17 in the base roster, but they put Frieza Soldier in the base roster." They did that because they know you want Super 17, and they know that by not putting them in the base roster, it's gonna build up hype and expectations to see them in the future. And when they inevitably drop them as goddamn as DLC, because it is happening, your character isn't never gonna end up in the game. It's Sparking Zero. The roster's probably gonna end up goddamn 250, 6'5". Like it's gonna be a lot of characters by the end. It's already a lot of characters. But your character didn't end up in the game because they're gonna leave it for DLC, and they need to have interesting characters as DLC to make you want to pay for the DLC. So yeah, they're not gonna put a lame character as DLC. They're gonna put a character that you want in the base roster as DLC so that you can buy them and then add them to your roster, because that's how they make money. That's why Noob Saibot didn't get introduced into Mortal Kombat 1 until just now. That's why Elfelt, it wasn't in Guilty Gear until like pretty recent. That's why goddamn Heihachi isn't in the game yet. He's coming out soon, because they know that they're gonna drop a hype character of DLC, then people are gonna play them. You know, like if they released like I said, if they release the Frieza Soldier as DLC, nobody's gonna buy him. Nobody's gonna do that. If they release goddamn who somebody people don't like in Mortal Kombat. If they if they added Bo right, no, people would fuck with Bo Raicho though. But you get what I'm saying. Like you understand my point where I'm saying like they need good DLC characters, and a part of being a good DLC characters is being someone that people want to play. And I bet all the people who are like, oh my gosh, Super 17 isn't in the game, this person isn't in the game, the developers are looking at you and they're yeah, they're like, oh, you want Super 17? Oh, you want him that bad? Oh, give me $6 and you got him. So yeah, it's just because of DLC. He didn't get in the game not because he wasn't thinking, the developers weren't thinking about him or whatever other character. They were doing it because they needed good characters still to release as DLC. Like in a roster of 182 characters, they weren't gonna drop that and then have that be the end and then not have DLC characters. And then they also weren't gonna drop a DLC character with a bunch of characters that you don't like. So they needed to hold out on certain characters that they know that you like, so they can add them in the DLC, so you can pay for the DLC, so they can make money. But yeah, that's it. That's all I kind of had to say. I will be playing Sparking Zero in front of all 18 of you. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the 20 series, like the 30 game series I did with Tekken as Dragon Ball, because I'm not sure how long those matches last, and it's 182 people, so that's probably gonna kill me. But like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what format I do. It'd probably be like a challenge run. I just have to see how the game plays a little bit, and then we can move from there. If you like hearing me yap, I'll do that in between feeding my masochism on different games. Yeah, have a great, beautiful, wonderful day, and I hate you all.